Hey guys, remember me? You know what fellas, you guys are alright in my books. 57 likes here. Just about to prepare for the next upload, which is this upload, which I actually have to re-render because I didn't expect to instantly get to that 50 like mark. So you know what? I did promise I'd remove the thumbs up from the videos if I got to the 50 likes, but you know, I'm gonna do something even better, even nicer for you guys. Ready? Here you go. This is my like button. This is my little like icon. We're gonna upgrade it using a little bit of that Photoshop magic. There you go. We've been upgraded from the blue. Oof, look at that. I'm awarding you guys with the bronze thumbs up for your hard effort. And you know what? If we can get to, let's make it 100 likes on a future episode, then I'll upgrade our bronze like again, another tier of thumbs up. So you know, if we all work together, we can all achieve greatness. Follow your dreams, people, even if it means giving up everything. Enjoy the video. Do you guys ever have one of those dreams where you're eating a really nice meal, you know, like some KFC or something really tasty, and then you wake up and you don't have any food in your house at all and you're very sad? Well, that's how I'm starting this episode. So welcome to episode 10? 11, right? 11? I think it's 11. It's 10 or 11. Damn. Well, making it beyond 10 is pretty good, I think. That's a pretty good from me, I think. Okay, this is where we left off last time. The battle screen kind of just hangs like this unless I can navigate this menu and I can press E to select one of them, and then it'll just wait for the next player's turn. All the combat's been disabled, so we can just focus on getting the menu right. So we'll just be continuing to work on this today. I guess the first big thing will be to, after I select a command, a selection thing will come up for choosing the enemy we're going to target, and then maybe we'll get our guy to head bonk whoever we target. Obviously we have to make sure that the enemy is a valid target and it's alive, all that fun stuff. And then after that, maybe there's a few things we could do. We could get the enemy turns to work again. Yeah, we'll probably do that. We'll keep it truly turn-based for now. One thing I'll have to do a bit later is make it so that the game doesn't hold when the menu comes up. Instead, it continues on and you kind of have to be fast about inputting your commands. And then other stuff, like if more than one player has commands that they're ready to input, I need an indicator showing that more than one player is ready and that we can swap between the command windows. All very familiar stuff if you've ever played games from the Final Fantasy series. Cool, so I think enemy targeting is the first thing I do. I'm gonna get to it, dude. I'm gonna earn that meal, you know. I'm gonna earn that dream meal that I had. There was a taste of what hard work and dedication can allow you to earn. Yeah, we're all working towards that meal. We got meal on our mind. Cool. I'll catch you later. Wish me luck, bros. Alright, here's a bit of a start. I've got enemy selection working. So on the person's turn, also I made it that you can't select these dead command things. I'll probably make it that the cursor can't even hover over them if you have commands that aren't filled. But all these three still work the same, but instead of now there's an extra phase in the turn where we enter targeting phase. If we choose something, you can see the cursor jumps to what should be the first positioned enemy, which is this dude in the top right here. And then, you know, as I go up and down, left and right, it kind of works how you'd expect. It is not a final solution. This kind of relies on the width and height of the list of enemies to be consistent. So if there are like gaps, like an enemy dies, then they'll still be hoverable. And eventually we won't want that. We'll want to, as we move the cursor around, we'll want to hover over the most intelligent selection, let's say. Yeah, say we have we have a really big enemy down here, and then we've got like a few imp dudes left alive up here. Our cursor movements are gonna want to make like the best judgment on where to jump. If I'm like on this imp dude and then I hit left and then there's no guy there, so like how do we find the next one? But not worried about that just now. Yeah, and then once I do select a target, nothing happens. So I think the next thing I'll do is I'll see if I can get the dude to headbutt the target we select. I'll catches. Well, I'm back. Hey, this worked out pretty good actually. It didn't take very long. So again, select a command. You can see what I've done is I've dimmed every actor that isn't the one being targeted, which for such a low effort effect, it actually adds so much clarity visual clarity to the scene. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, you can see if I try to attack the dead ones, it doesn't go through with the attack because I'm pretty sure that would lead to a crash. So, you know, our checks are working good. And if I choose one, then whoever's turn it was, which in that case it was Gamer, now it's Chad who's in the green hat. So Chad will attack the last bottom left here. It's the truck again, dude, he's back. Yeah, we'll get Chad to headbutt the bottom left goblin dude right here. Boom. Very nice. And now the game's actually, oh, that was subtle. I think it has something to do with the fact that Chad and Veronica both had their turn at the same time. You can see by the ATB. And Chad's one should be consumed because we completed the turn, but that step doesn't actually happen until it's verified that no one has a turn. So the order of operations is take a step, charging the ATB. Then before the next step, charging it, we loop through our 5 party members to see if anyone's at the full state, and then if they are, we set them to be the command source. So then the command window pops up, they can choose, and then they choose a target. And then once we complete that, they do their action, but then we do another check before we increment the action time bar to see if there's another person who has a turn. And it's only on the next step of correcting the ATBs that their bar is consumed. So that's why Chad's hasn't consumed. So that I'm okay with. So Chad and Veronica both had a turn. So technically part of it's working correctly because we wouldn't want Veronica to be ignored. The states got a bit confused, and before I actually hit E just now, the command window wasn't drawing when it was supposed to. But it seems to be everything drawing correctly now that we're on Veronica's turn, complete her turn, and then it does the update step. So yeah, this command window wasn't drawing on Veronica's turn. So there's a little funniness there, but we're very early on to implementing this stuff. So I've had a pretty good run so far, no like crashes and stuff, because usually when you start messing around with lists of actors and lists of enemies and targeting and attacking and stat calculations and all that kind of stuff, you usually run into like some object doesn't exist, or, you know, index out of bounds problem, stuff like that. And it's actually been a fairly clean run, so I'm quite happy so far. I wonder if the battle ends, so we could technically get all these guys dead. See, the same thing happened because all the action time bars are charging at exactly the same speed, right? So Chad and Veronica will have this problem in this fight every time. So right now it is Veronica's turn and the command window should be drawing, but it is not, but it still is functional, it seems. Yes, the command window is definitely functional because I actually moved the cursor onto a spot that doesn't work, one of the grayed out like non-command ones, and if I bring it back, target window comes up. So yeah, it's all fine, it's just not drawing. So it's only in the draw script that the states are a bit confused, but that's alright. Let's get all these guys down. I'm winning. It'd almost be a game if they actually fought back. Well, it kind of is a game. It's a game where you got to hit E and then you got to navigate the cursor. The controls at the moment, I'm using WASD for movement and menu movement, and E is like my select thing. Probably won't stay like this. Boom, does the last headbutt and we're out. Woohoo, we don't get stuck anymore. And we won. It's a game, dude. Well, it's almost a game. I'll fix up the state thing. Yeah, maybe I'll get enemies to work if their turns up. And then it'll be a game. Damn. Would that be exciting? I'm going to take a break, but later I'll come back and do some more work. Peace out. Boys! I'm back again. I'll show you what I've been working on. So I've been in the process of breaking it away from being completely turn-based to keeping the flow of battle intact. So you'll see as soon as Veronica's turns first, the bars are still charging, and that when the bar fills up to white, that indicates that you've got other people in your party ready to take their turn. Another big thing is next to the command bar, you can see that graphically it's kind of stacked up, so it looks like there's a bunch of command bar things ready, because if I want to make this fluid and fast paced, I need it to be very clear when other people have turns and, you know, where in the party they are, because naturally you'll shuffle between them using like the shoulder buttons of a gamepad. And you can see as I'm hitting, for me it's just keyboard right and left, but it's cycling through all the available party members. I got them kind of, their sprite is like much brighter as well. I'm trying to make it very clear when it's their turn. I'm not super happy with this, I don't think. I'll probably leave it for now, but I'm thinking I might go back to my original solution. I'll get on my thing up here, see if I still have it. Oh yeah, you can see this thing that I'm changing. I've got this. The idea was that there were going to be little tabs up here. They're a little bit more subtle, and it doesn't actually move the contents of all of the commands from side to side. So this other solution that I originally thought up might be worth trying as well, but I don't think that's too important right now. It seems okay for now for what I was working on. So you can see I can still attack. There's no like queuing for the actions or anything, so technically if you inputted really fast you could have multiple actions going at once, which wouldn't be desirable. I'd want like a short pause for whoever's taking their action, player or enemy, to be able to execute that action. Say for instance you have a long scene of someone casting a spell, then you should still be able to queue up actions after that, but they wouldn't all instantly work at the same time. This is all pretty typical stuff for most turn-based RPGs. But yeah, you can see as I consume these turns, the amount of available actors to take their turn adjusts itself. So you can see when there's only 2 up here, you can kind of see relatively based on like the effect I have on the command bar. The idea when kind of designing, I'm trying to figure out where the player's eyes will be as they play the game, obviously, and I want to keep it as centered and bottom centered as I can, because inputting the commands is the actual gameplay they'll be doing. So for instance, if I didn't have these command windows working as it is right now, if I went back to how it was the last clips I was taking, it'd be much harder to tell on which character I have selected relative to their position in the party, because we have like a 5-way party. So I'm trying to think of like visual aids, how I can make that more obvious, because one of the problems I had in Final Fantasy sometimes when you wanted to shuffle between whose action was going to take next, sometimes it was very hard to tell without like spending the time to move your eyes to the bottom right corner or somewhere else on the screen. So I think it's okay for now. I don't like the colors of the bottom right. You can see like by turning the current character's name yellow, I'm trying to make that really stand out. UI colors I'm not thinking too much about. Most of them, like that yellow, is straight from like a game maker constant yellow. It's not one that I defined myself. All the whites are just the console white as well, but I don't think white will ever change that much. This part was a bit of a struggle though. There's a lot more careful sequencing that you have to do when I want to keep the action rolling constantly. It deviates away from like a typical state machine kind of setup. I think what I'll need to do before I go forward in this and before I implement enemy actions is I'll need to get the queuing of abilities working, so that I'll probably start that when you're using an ability it pauses until the ability's finished, and then I can play around with it, get that sequencing going, because I wouldn't want like an enemy and a player to attack at the exact same time. There's got to be like an internal sequence to it. Cool. Catches. Blech.